Hi, so today I'm going to talk about Lucy Letby in comparison with Beverley Allitt, because if you look at the two cases, they're very, very similar, and actually in court it was remarked on as well how similar they were, and this it was almost as if someone had used the Beverley Allitt case as a copybook, unfortunately, for what happened in the Lucy Letby case. So the similarities are, obviously there was the sudden collapse and sadly death of infants and children in the Beverley Allitt case, because she was a general children's nurse. There appeared to be tampering with tubes in both cases and with the air supply. There were some cardiac arrests in both cases. Both cases involved insulin. Both cases involved air where air shouldn't be, so air bubbles. Both cases involved a monitor that was switched off and an alarm that failed to sound, and this really did stick out for me because I thought, oh, that is weird that both have that. And Lucy Letby was, she became known as Nurse Death. Beverley Allitt was called the Angel of Death. Both involved twins, and both were calm under questioning. Both had medical documents and notes from the hospital in their own homes. So I'm going to go through some of these again and just go over them in a bit more depth. So the whole the tampering with the tubes and the air supply and the insulin. Now these are unfortunately, if a nurse or a doctor, or if we're talking about a nurse, because nurses don't have so much access to things, these are things that a nurse could have easy access to. So we could see the connections there, and also the air bubbles. That twins were involved. Beverley Allitt also worked with premature babies, and I think those were more likely to be twins as well. So I think that might just be the type of patient that there was more of on the ward. So the things that are a little bit different, or the things that stick out, obviously the monitor being switched off. Now in Baby G's case, for Lucy Letby, the doctors had actually apologised for the monitor being off when the alarm failed to sound, but then they later could not remember anything about this when questioned in court. So that's the reason that stuck out for me, that a monitor was involved and that the doctors couldn't remember when questioned in court what a nurse had said they'd said earlier, and that was not Lucy Letby, this was another nurse. And Beverley Allitt became known as the Angel of Death but this was after she'd been tried, been convicted. Lucy Letby, she became known as Nurse Death whilst she was still working there. I'm not sure if it was after she was taken off ward duties or whether it was while she was still working as a nurse on nursing duties, but it was certainly while she was still employed and before her arrest, certainly. Now, they were both calm under questioning, but Beverley Allitt, although she was calm under questioning, this was not her normal demeanour. For Lucy, just giving factual evidence or, you know, giving the facts under questioning, this honestly does seem to be a part of her natural baseline. But if you're comparing Lucy Letby's case with Beverley Allitt's case, this could then look really quite damning, but I don't think that in itself is damning for Lucy, because that seems to be how she normally communicates information, and that does seem to be a part of her baseline. So what are the differences? Well, for Beverley Allitt, she had a really disturbing back history. She had a history of self-harming, she had a history of Munchausen's. I mean, she was diagnosed with Munchausen's and Munchausen's by proxy after the event, and she had a history of making herself ill, deliberately seeking medical attention even when she didn't have anything wrong with her. She had a history of aggressiveness and general attention seeking, and Lucy Letby didn't have this history. Lucy Letby was a bit of a nerdy kid, but on the other hand she seemed to be quite quiet and reserved, maybe. So, and you know, there was nothing suspicious in her history at all before these unexpected deaths started happening. With Beverley Allitt, something called lignocaine was found in one of the babies, I think it was. Now this was a drug that was only supposed to be ever given to adults, so how it ended up in a baby, I mean, they found traces, but nonetheless that was something that was not supposed to be there. In the Lucy Letby case, there weren't any, apart from insulin, there weren't any other drugs or substances that weren't supposed to be there. And there was also potassium in the blood of one patient for Beverley Allitt. I don't remember anything like that with Lucy Letby. Also, Beverley Allitt reported the key to the insulin cupboard missing. There didn't appear to be any missing insulin in the Lucy Letby case. So where is this going now? It does seem that people were ready to compare this with Beverley Allitt at quite an early stage. I mean, before it even came to trial. It does look as if the doctors were thinking along those lines at a very, very early stage. Possibly not maybe not quite at the beginning, but as, you know, more and more babies became ill, I think they did start thinking that, and I think there was a bit of preempting, you know, looking for similarities with Beverley Allitt, and I think maybe there was a bit of over focus on this, so this was all being driven down one, you know, there's a bit of tunnel vision here, I think, with Beverley Allitt, and other explanations were not being considered, and it could have happened that once Lucy found herself under that sort of scrutiny, the system was only going to move one way. So that's, you know, it could have been that someone was, as mentioned in court, using this as a copybook. It could have been as well that people were seeing Beverley Allitt quite early on were acting as if this is Beverley Allitt, and were preempting the, you know, the situation to be Beverley Allitt. So that's what I feel about these two cases and the comparison. So yeah, please like and subscribe, share your thoughts, and hope to see you in the next video.